The top 3 tech stocks earnings are out, and I'm going to give you guys an update on all 3. Stay tuned until the end because the last company's earnings report really missed it. Let's start off with Alphabet, who's the parent company of Google. Alphabet beat the earnings expectations. The EPS was 2.87 versus the 2.26 expected, so that's great. And the revenue was 102.35 billion versus the 99.96 billion expected. And the shares in the aftermarket have seen the results of this good ER as they reached as far as 7%. However, unfortunately, the other 2 tech stocks did not have as good of earnings. Let's start off with Microsoft. Microsoft's revenue was $77 billion, an increase of 18%. Operating income was $38 billion, an increase of 24%. And the net income on a non-GAAP basis was $27.7 billion, and that is a 12% increase. However, they did not beat the expected, and for that reason, their stock has gone down a little bit here. It's down 3% in the aftermarket, and we're going to have to keep an eye on exactly how they do, but it wasn't too bad. And finally, we have Meta, which, as you guys know, is Facebook, and they own Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Llama. If you know your AIs, and they own Llama. The Meta glasses, obviously, they're Mark Zuckerberg's company. And let me tell you what they did. So overall, the revenue was up by 26.25% from the same quarter last year, up to 51.24 billion. The operating income was 20.5 billion versus the 17.35 billion. But here is the big thing. Net income this quarter was 2.71 billion, an 83.73% decrease, the same earnings last year as they put up 15.69 billion last year. So this is very unusual for them to put up this low of net income. And we have found out why. So the big earnings miss was due to the 15.9 billion one-time expense and is probably going to be largely overlooked in the long run of things. As Eric Bleeker put it, what's really weighing on this stock right now is the revenue guidance of 56 to 59 billion, whereas Wall Street expected a 57.26 billion. Simply put out, that guidance isn't a big enough beat to lift the shares. As it's been reacting, as Meta shares are down 7% in the aftermarket right now. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said, "We had a good quarter driven by AI progress across our apps and business." And overall, he is very bullish on the company as they continue to invest heavily on AI. So they did announce that this was a one-time operating cost. And so it'll be very interesting to see how the other AI stocks do, as it's looking like AI stocks are putting up generally good earnings. However, you see some companies that randomly have the one-time operating expense. You had Netflix, who had that huge one, and they went out down 10%. And now Meta is facing a very similar thing. As always, I'm going to give you guys the updates. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Peace.